Well, it's been a while. I've been kind of tied up all summer thanks to Addison, but he's out of the way now, so here I am. And if you only watch Anthonix Maximus reviews, you'll probably be wondering why last season ended with him showing up and now I'm free again. Well, you should have been watching Addison's Audacities, apparently. Yes, for Halloween, I am Bro Thor. Or Fat Thor. And it was easy, really, to get a costume at this last minute because, one, not too many people are doing Halloween this year, and two, well, let's face it, I pretty much had these clothes around anyway, so why not use them? And now that I'm not holding the Stormbreaker or Mjolnir anymore, I guess I pass for the dude. So yeah, like I said, it's been a crazy summer, but we're back. The first episode of the season of Anthonix Maximus Reviews. Oh yeah, it's been a while. Probably should start with the intro I usually do. Hi. Okay, try that again. Hi, I'm Anthonix Maximus, bitching to you about movies because there's so much hair getting into my mouth. Yeah, normally I would start the season off with going to Comic-Con and talking about it afterwards, but, you know, last year Comic-Con was just such a disappointment that I wasn't sure if I was going to go this time. Then, come to find out, Comic-Con was canceled. So I pretty much decided to start the first review of the season with a Halloween review. You know, it just something different, and alright, great, now I look like Dog the Bounty Hunter. For this Halloween season, I decided, in the spirit of the 30th anniversary and the remake coming out on HBO Max, why not go ahead and cover The Witches? This time, I want to do a little bit of something different. If you haven't seen the remake of The Witches yet, there's going to be some spoilers. I'm going to do some light comparing, so sorry. I gotta say, I actually loved The Witches when I was a kid. I have to admit, when I was younger, I didn't read too many books. Like, my school actually had us read, like, the weirdest books, but never, like, the popular ones. I didn't even know The Witches was based off of a novel. That first movie was my introduction. Yes, I loved it. Angelica Houston was great. I mean, she's usually great in things. I loved her in Addams Family, so of course she's going to be great as the Grand High Witch. The grandmother was awesome. It was a fantastical movie. And it was actually my first introduction to Rowan Atkinson. I have to admit, I'm not really a Mr. Bean fan, but I like the actor. He's a good character actor. And in this film, he actually has a bit more of a serious depth than I'm used to. And that's probably why I appreciate it more. Then we got the remake. And oh my god, I'll get to that. Just to give you some brief history, the book was published in 1983 and it was written by Roald Dahl. I can never say that right. Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl. The guy who gave us Charlie and the Chocolate Factory books and also Matilda. Let's not waste too much time. Let's just get right into it. Okay, see, now this is a very good opening because it's a landscape of snow caps and you see the credits flying at you. Kind of a fast speed motion, but hey, whatever. At least the screenplay was written by a Green Lantern. So the movie starts off with the grandmother telling the boy, his name is Luke, about witches, because why not?
Witches spend their time plotting to kill children.
Grandma, I just asked what you would like for your birthday.
Do they hunt you?
She lost a pinky to a witch. Oh yeah, so me too. In the remake, the grandmother is played by Octavia Spencer, and the boy isn't ever addressed by the name of Luke, which is fine because in the book he's actually not even named as well, so that's what the remake got right.
When I was little, I lived beside a girl called Erica, who was taken by a witch.
Great prosthetics and practical effects, all of it is great, but doesn't affect me that much.
It was as if though he had seen a ghost.
Is the girl alive in the picture? Or is the picture the portrait of Dorian Gray? We don't know.
As the years went by, Erica grew older too. One morning, she was gone.
That's the kind of thing that kind of haunts you for a while.
So if you ever see a woman in the street holding her nose as she passes you, she could easily be a witch.
Well, now that I just told you about the witches, it's time for bed. Good night. Well, it is a kids' film in the 90s, so...
Chances, look out!
In the beginning of the film, it actually is about the boy and the grandmother. In the remake, it's actually them in America the whole time. The boy is from Chicago, the grandmother lives in Alabama, and it's a period piece in the 60s. All good. It was great bonding scene. And then it gets worse after that. It is weird that it is narrated by Chris Rock. So it's kind of like watching the movie version of Everybody Hates Chris. I like Chris Rock, I really do. But the very fact that he's narrating already tells me that, you know, he lives. Anyways, back to the 1990 movie.
Frau Evesham, could I come in for a minute?
All that remained after the accident was her shawl. We could not save the rest of the outfit.
The driving. How does he reach the pedals?
Yeah, so in this version, the boy goes with the grandmother to her home in England.
I've got something for you here. Something I think you'll like.
Let's go up to a stranger kid and just offer him stuff. Why not? You're a woman, you can actually get away with it.
Wanted to give you this. Perhaps you'd like some chocolate instead.
Chocolate? You should have led with that first.
Luke, dinner time. Happy birthday to you.
Why are you singing him a happy birthday song? You've already blown out the candles and cut a piece of cake. You Brits, you do things crazy.
There.
Oh, Grandma, they're great!
Yep, in this classic version, he gets 2 mice. In the remake, he only gets 1 mouse, and it becomes a friend. It becomes a talking mouse.
I'm gonna build them a whole circus, teach them tricks and acrobatics and stuff.
I know. I have the same reaction whenever a kid wants to tell me about his plans with his pets.
With that and a good holiday by the seaside, you'll be good as new.
And because of her diabetes, her damn stupid diabetes, they have to go and stay in a hotel by the sea, because I guess that cures diabetes.
I've been so looking forward to meeting you. You look marvellous.
I wish I could say the same for you.
This is why I prefer the Angelica Houston version of the Grand High Witch rather than Anne Hathaway. It's because with her performance, it's subtle bitchiness. That's what I like in my witches. Subtle bitchiness.
We're very happy to have you.
Yes. Delighted. Shall I sign or something?
Oh, no.
It's my secretary.
Seriously? Imagine that kind of hell. Checking into a hotel for the whole summer, only to find out that there's going to be a convention of a bunch of Karens. I'd check out immediately. See, it's that kind of weird stuff that gets to me.
What are you doing?
And playing the part of Bruno is a young Anthonix.
Well, never crossed their mind to have 2 tea trolleys. Oh, that'd be too convenient for the paying guests, eh?
Karens and witches come in all genders.
As if I met her before. She's probably on TV or something. Oh no. Sugar?
Ooh. Angelica Houston is putting a hex on her food. Gonna make her eat some diabetes food. Well, that's what you get for talking smack about people across the room. Should have mind your own business. And now the grandmother is dealing with some diabetes side effect. Alright, it's a little bit of a departure from the book and the remake where instead of diabetes, it's actually pneumonia. But I don't know, I guess diabetes is topical?
Come on, come on.
I'm sure your delegates will be comfortable in here.
So as young Lucas is training his mice, that is when he's interrupted by the 1 Million Moms convention.
Move your wigs.
See, and that's what I'm talking about. The prosthetics, man. And alright, so, fun fact. Angelica Houston was in that costume for a long time, and they assembled so much onto her, and it took a long time to put the costume on, and she stuck around in that for a while. And you only get to see this in one scene, and you know what, it's worth it. It's just enough because she's a trooper. Angelica Houston really goes through a lot. Yeah, does a lot of regular acting, but between this and Addams Family, where her face was constantly tied down, her suffering headaches, and just a lot of small illnesses while she's filming her roles, she powers through.
Your disgrace.
Now that's the kind of lady you have to romance first. And if you look real closely in a crowd of all those chrome domes, I'm pretty sure some of them are actually just men in dresses.
Thousands of revolting little children.
I'm in love with this makeup. Really, Harry, it's just gross looking. Sorry to compare it to the new, but Anne Hathaway's makeup just does not work. They give her this wide smile, this like Cheshire cat smile, a long toe on each foot, and arms that can stretch. Okay, arms and fingers that stretch, that's actually kind of creepy. Then they also give her the ability to float around. I would say that's kind of cool, but she has a snake and a cat as well. They could even use a real snake or a real cat. They're CGI. But here, I'll take the prosthetics any day over CGI. I know I sound like such an old guy comparing the old to the new, but it's nothing against Anne Hathaway. I think she gets more hate than she deserves, but she is no Angelica Houston.
I demand maximum results.
Okay, the prosthetics aren't perfect. I mean, you could see the bald cap wrinkles. You have to take the bad with the good sometimes.
We can't possibly wipe out all of it.
Who spoke? Very long!
I'm sorry, I don't mean to harp on this. It's just, in the remake, it's done immediately. No build-up. I'm just saying I would like to see people be brutally destroyed in a nice, artful way. Alright, so to give you an idea, the great plan that she has is to make all the witches go back to their homes, quit their jobs, and open up candy shops, where inevitably poison the children and turn them into mice and rats. And it'll all be paid for by the Grand Witch herself. More and more I talk about this, the more I kind of want to be a witch.
Madam! Madam!
She has her first test subject. Well, screw you too, ladies.
That lady promised me 6 whole bars of cream whipped hazelnut milk chocolate. I've come to collect.
You entitled little piece of shit. I'm glad you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
You are in for a treat.
Cut him a check and get him the hell out of here.
What is it with Roald Dahl that likes to punish kids so much? And he seems to really like to take it out on fat kids. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's another image that'll haunt me for a while too. It could be like the remake, where instead of him shaking and having features like a rat as he's transforming, they could do the remake route and make him fart into a mouse. Yes, that's a thing. HBO Max, folks. But it's not long that the witches sniff out Lucas and they start chasing him. It could be worse. You could see nostrils growing big because, let's face it, Roald Dahl is a weird guy when it comes to describing things in his books.
Bye.
Huh, you know, I can't help but wonder, how are they going to explain that destroyed chair?
Are you okay? They didn't give me the 6 bars of chocolate they promised. You couldn't eat 6 bars of candy now that you're a mouse.
Don't you dare challenge me, kid. Oh, you're talking to him. I'm impressed with the effects in this film. It's Jim Henson puppeteering, just like the same puppet work that you see in Ninja Turtles or Muppets or Sesame Street. Yeah, it can be a little dated, but even if we know that it's fake, it's tangible. You can feel it, so you can still connect to it because it's physically there. And Luke makes his way back to his grandmother, where she learns that the two of them have been turned into mice. You escape one witch and you go to a bunch of other witches. I think God wants you dead. And now they're trying to decide on how to stop the witches by getting their hands on the formula so they don't turn any more kids into mice. But I'm actually stuck on the prosthetic that they have just randomly hanging there. Don't know why it's there, but I would like to actually find out. I feel like that could actually build to the movie more.
Grandma!
Salem, no!
Keep him there, Grandma.
Never thought you liked the father.
She slammed the door on her assistant. It's the subtle things.
Who is this?
You told them to come up after the drinks.
Okay, that in itself, she doesn't even have to show her real witch face. That's actually pretty creepy on its own.
All right, let them in.
There's some jolly good grapes here.
Keep up the good work, Bruno. Before all the excitement happens, we have the grandmother bringing the mouse Bruno to his parents.
Ouch! Out! Out before I call the police. Now, pardon me, old Rooney, just...
Oh no, not the mouse. I never understood that. Like, why are mice scary to people, huh? It's a mouse. It's that a trope thing, you know, like all that's remaining is for her to stand on a chair like a cartoon. But if it's a mouse, then people have to overreact in movies, I guess.
You are not here to enjoy yourself. You are here as my staff. Go to your room.
Chef?
So that's how they prepare their meals at Denny's.
Whoa.
Truly, the live-action Ratatouille we've all been waiting for. So we're just gonna mull over the whole tail getting cut thing, huh? Just gonna let it go? I mean, I want to know the physics behind this, because you figure the front paws might originate as the boy's hands, the back paws might have originated as the boy's feet. The tail has to come from somewhere. Now, if you figure the tail on an animal is attached to the spine, the chef just cut a piece of that boy's spine.
Hi, Bruno.
Lovely, isn't it? Red.
Yes. Red.
I don't know why. I always laugh at this point because just him saying red. It's not really a joke. It's just a funny reaction.
Look, the Grand High Witch is eating the soup. Yes, I have. Hello, Dad.
Listen, I understand. I wouldn't want to take that kid back either. No matter what form.
It's working.
Everyone's eating soup, all the fumes happening. I'm waiting for the Joker to show up and start playing Prince.
She did it to Bruno. Thousands of other children before him.
This particular third act, I guess, is a quick resolution. Or you can do like the remake and make it where it turns into a cartoon with Anne Hathaway. Again, I don't mean to harp on the remake because CGI and everything, and you know what, I can understand the final product of the remake may not be as good because, well, with everything going on in 2020, I imagine they just didn't have the time to finish up on the CGI. That's the only excuse I can give myself, especially when the remake is actually produced by Robert Zemeckis, who knows CGI pretty well from some of his movies, and Guillermo del Toro, the man who is the genius of prosthetics and practical effects. In the remake, the third act actually felt like I was watching a Looney Tunes cartoon. Holy shit, Jim Henson. If you're trying to make us wet ourselves, joke's on you. I already did that from the beginning of the film. Peter just didn't really care back then. And she was subdued with a knife. And it's gross.
Bye, Bruno.
Bye.
Thanks for all your help, Bruno. You were really great. Thanks. Bye.
I won't be long.
With all the witches defeated and the assistant still around, Luke leaves her a tag. Well, alright, so the way it's actually properly explained, because this film, I will say, didn't really convey that pretty well, is that they basically stole the money that the Grand High Witch had, and the money-making machine. So yeah, that's actually a tag with their address put on her chest with all the money so they can actually steal it. So yeah, murder and theft. And I guess what it's conveying here is that the assistant caught that, and who knows what's going to happen next? Well, I know what's going to happen next, but let's continue.
It doesn't matter who you are and what you are as long as somebody loves you.
Well, see, now this is a fun little setup. That's a fun house. More fun than the house from Silver Spoons. Most of you watching this won't even understand what I'm saying.
The Grand High Witches, and it has the name and address of every witch in America.
Yep, Luke, you're a genius and a thief, and now you and your grandmother are gonna be spending counterfeit money. I'm not sure the witches are the villains here.
I really am happy to be a mouse, you know.
I know, my darling.
Okay, see, now, this is actually very touching, and you see the pain in the grandmother's eyes because she knows the real truth of how things are going to end for them. In the book, which the remake actually follows, is that the boy actually stays as a mouse. He does not turn back. And it's even sadder because the grandmother explains that mice pretty much have a lifespan of about 9 years. And at her age, she about has 9 years as well. So to make it even more sad, the boy as a mouse actually accepts his fate, because then that means he and his grandmother can die together. Because if he had to outlive her, he wouldn't want to be with anyone else but his grandmother. So it's a really sad ending for a book. Yeah, it does talk about how they make all these plans to travel the world with their money and hunt down every witch, turn them all into mice, and have cats come in and eat them. Yeah, it just kind of leaves it on a very sad ending. And in the remake, spoiler again, it does that too in the remake, but it's more set up as old Chris Rock Mouse is training a generation of kids to hunt down witches, kind of like assembling some kind of army. So it's really more treated like it's sensationalized. Take that, pagans and you Wiccans. But this version, way different. Well, of course it's a sadder ending. The boy as a mouse could have lived in the Ghostbusters house, but now he's being transformed back into a boy and destroys the Ghostbusters house. You know how expensive those Ghostbuster firehouses are? Ugh! We could have gone the whole movie without seeing that. Oh. Now I'm afraid I'm going to be turned over to the FBI because I have that on my computer. Yep. So Luke gets turned back into a human. Assumably, Bruno is going to get the same treatment. Luke gets his 2 mice back, and it's a happy ending for him and his grandmother. Yeah, you can tell it's kind of a studio-noted ending, or something that the original test audiences didn't like, so they had to give it a happy ending. And, honestly, I'm kind of okay with either result. Not everything has to follow the book completely, otherwise you know too much of what happens. But yeah, again, I'm fine with this ending. Just leaves very little for a sequel if they were ever planning on it. Yeah, I know there was probably like only 1 book, but it's the movie industry. They would have found a way to make sequels. And it didn't really do too well when it came out in theaters, but it built up a following over time. Didn't help either that the movie was competing against some other films at the time, like 30 years ago was competing against the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. The remake, it had its moments, again with Octavia Spencer and the little boy who played the hero, because he didn't have a name like in the book. They made the movie, and I liked the music they had in the remake because it was for the time period in the 60s. So if you didn't know it was a Witches remake, you would think the first half of the movie, or I guess the first quarter of the movie, is a whole different film. But the moment they show up at the moment that the lady with the snake in the remake shows up, the fake snake, that's kind of where it goes downhill. Now, rewind it. It went downhill when we see the flashback of that little girl get turned into a chicken. Anyways, I won't go any further about the remake. The Witches was actually one of my childhood favorites. I still love it. I'll watch this over and over again if I need to. And beyond that, I just want to wish you a happy and safe Halloween. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And try not to get yourself any complicated wigs like I did. There, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If I just may step out of character and step into my Anthony J. Smith mode, I just want to thank you very much for watching Anthonix Maximus reviews, and this summer watching Addison's Audacities. If you haven't yet, please do so. But I have to do that thing that people get annoyed about and talk about politics. I know. How dare an entertainer talk about politics, even though early entertainers like early jesters originated from politics because they had to entertain kings, but that's history. And also, not to mention, the current president is a game show host, so I think I have a little bit of a leeway, right? Leeway. I'm just asking you, if you haven't voted yet, please do so. It's a very important election. And I don't mean that like, oh, if you don't vote, then taxes will go up or something like that. No, this is a very important election. Early vote. You have only so much time left. Get out there and vote. It's very important. This election, everyone needs to be heard. This is the time where you can change things, okay? So, for your old pal, please go out and vote. Now that I'm done, I'll just kindly get off my high horse, step down off this soapbox, and again, thank you, and have a safe and happy Halloween.